Got to 140. Zone 2 hot tub, baby. Hey guys, it's been a while. Major apologies for not posting a video in such a long time. I've just been really busy with school and training, and YouTube just got really forgotten in the back of my head. But I'm in spring break right now, and I thought this was a great time to make a video. So my main goal with making this channel was to talk about my progression in triathlon from when I started in 2022 to where I am right now, and then so far in the future. But I wanted to focus more towards the mental aspect of the sport. I feel like when a lot of people view the sport for the first time, they see the swim bike aspect of the sport, but they don't see the mental changes that happens to a person when they start the sport. For those who don't know me, I started the sport in 2022. I did an Olympic my first year, a 70.3 my second year, and last season I did two 70.3s and a Olympic distance race. And I'm by no means a fast triathlete, but I've been chewing down the time and been improving, and that's all that really matters to me. So for those who don't know, I decided for this year to sign up for my first full distance Ironman race. I signed up for Ironman Lake Placid, which is in New York on July 20th. And from today of filming this video, it's going to be in a little over 130 days from now. Obviously, I'm really excited, really nervous, but I trust myself to get to the finish line. And yeah, I promised myself when I started the sport that I would become a full Ironman by the time I graduate, and this is the year, and I hope I don't break that promise to myself. But yeah. So on the theme of the mental aspect of the sport, one of the biggest things that people have noticed was the health changes that happened to my life. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this video today. More so the what happened to me from a health perspective, my weight, my eating habits, and so. But yeah, I do want to preface this video by saying that I'm by no means a nutritionist or a healthcare expert. I do try to base as much of my training and my nutrition off of science as possible, but I do not have the credentials for it. So you can probably take my words with a grain of salt, but this was my experience with health. So a lot of my close friends will know that I started the sport out of fear for my health. When I started college, I did the classic freshman 15 plus, and what really got me into the sport was I was walking up to class one day and I noticed how absolutely winded I was by the time I got to my lecture room on the second floor, and I was just honestly really embarrassed by it. I didn't realize how bad my shape had gone until I started, but I just wasn't really happy with where I was physically or mentally. From there, I signed up for a half marathon and an Olympic triathlon, and since then, the rest has been history. Especially if you're close with me, probably everyone has seen this picture of me. This was taken in OSU about 3 years from now in February 2022, and to be honest, I didn't realize how bad my shape had gotten. It wasn't until I went back to OSU last month and retook the picture and noticed how dramatic the changes were. I was wearing the exact same shirt, except I actually bought it one size down. So in this picture, I was wearing a size large, and then the after picture, I was wearing a size medium. And yeah, I'll go into, I don't want to talk necessarily about weight a lot, but I will say from that picture versus to where I am now, I was at my biggest at 245 pounds, and I had just weighed myself today, and I weigh in at 195 pounds. So in the span of 3 years, I have lost 50 pounds, but I would be lying if I said it was been a straightforward progression. In my second year in the sport, I ended up getting some of the weight back, and then to lose it during the new year, I would honestly quite literally starve myself, and I ended up getting a pretty bad knee injury, which took me out of most of my marathon prep, and I was quite essentially screwed by the time I got back through my injury. Out of fear of getting injured again, I ended up eating more again and then gaining back the weight, and I definitely didn't get back to the weight where I was when I first started, but I still wasn't dropping any weight. And then in my third year, I was under the belief that as long as I ate well, the weight didn't matter. And while that was somewhat true, I did end up actually going back under 200 pounds and then ballooning back up to 216 by the time I got ill and then started to eat a lot again. I know in triathlon that weight is a very sensitive topic. Not many pros speak about their experience with their weight, and there's even a podcast from the Norwegian method where their coach said that it's better to be overweight and fed than underweight and fed. And the overarching theme in triathlon is that as long as you're well fed, that weight didn't necessarily matter. And while I do wholeheartedly believe in that idea, for me, however, I'm 5'6" tall, and I weighed over 200 pounds. Anytime I climbed up a hill, whether it was my time training in Cincinnati versus the hills in the Michigan course, I would get absolutely blown away from other people. And knowing how difficult and hilly the Lake Placid course was, I simply knew that I had to change my own weight. And again, this is my own experiences. This doesn't have to be yours, but for me, I knew this was a step that I had to take if I wanted to become an Ironman and the athlete that I wanted to become. So going into my fourth year, which is this year, I figured that I needed to have a more sustainable lifestyle revolving around food and the way I perceived food. Because in the past 3 years, I ended up doing something very toxic that I'll go later onto this video. So going into this year, when I started training again and focusing more towards my body composition, I tried to follow these 3 main rules. 1, I never allowed myself to get hungry. I ate whenever I was hungry, even if it meant that eating at nighttime. 2, I made sure that I fueled for my sessions. Usually for a hard session, I would fuel about 60 grams per hour. And 3, there was no food that was off limits. Obviously, I tried to avoid the super processed foods, but whenever I wanted a piece of food, even including ice cream, I would simply have it at my own leisure. In terms of diet, there wasn't really a diet that I think that an athlete could follow. You certainly couldn't follow the keto diet because carbs are life, especially to a triathlete. So I simply followed what I call the 90-10 diet, where 90% of your food was whole, healthy foods, while the other 10% of your food was simply stuff that you wanted: junk, candy, ice cream, even Nutella. And to be honest, I think I found my perfect jackpot for this. I know historically I've been up and down with the scale, but this time around I do think that for once in my life that I'll stay down and I'll keep staying down. And I think one of the greatest things that I appreciate since this recent change in body composition has been that the entire time since I restarted dieting is my relationship with food has been very stable. I've been eating whatever I wanted whenever I wanted. That's not to say that I overindulge, but I mean, I have no problem eating candy or chocolate throughout the day. When I first started dieting again, admittedly I was counting calories to make sure I was at a deficit. However, especially now when I'm training so much now, I end up calorie counting just to make sure that the deficit hasn't been too great. I actually bought a jar of Nutella, and I would have a spoonful of it just in the case that I think that my calorie deficit was over 500 calories. And to be honest, I talk about calorie counting, but lately I haven't even been calorie counting. I simply just trusted in the food that I ate, and to be honest, it's just been great. When I started the sport, I almost viewed food as like the enemy. counted calories as if it was a privilege instead of just a human right. And I remember in my first triathlon race when I stepped on the scale that I didn't like the number that showed up, and I would regurgitate whatever I had in my stomach at the time. And to be honest, that was something I used to do quite a bit, where if I felt guilty of eating something, thinking that I was over my caloric intake, that I would just regurgitate. And like I said before, I've starved myself thinking that less weight is better weight. And to be honest, I'm just really happy that I'm past it now. To be honest, I didn't realize how much I lost in weight or the change in my physiology until quite recently, which is kind of funny because you'd think that with the progression that you would notice, but to be honest, it felt like it just hit like a freight train. I only noticed when a friend had told me that I looked significantly skinnier after having not seen them since the winter break. And to be honest, since then, I've just noticed a lot of my clothes not fitting, in the sense where it's actually too big on me rather than being too small on me. Pants used to be really hard to find as they would just end up constricting my thighs, but now it's not, it hasn't been as much of an issue. I started off wearing size 34 pants when I started college, but now my mom one time gave me waisted 30 pants and that fitted, which completely shocked me. I re-wore my tri-suit that I wore for the past 2 years, and in the past 2 years it was really tight on me, but now when I wear it, there's been visible creases on it to the point where I think I can actually wear a size small for my next year's kit, and it really has me excited, to be honest. I sometimes don't even recognize myself in the mirror. Oftentimes what I'll do is I'll just look in the mirror and then just poke fun of the fat that just spills out of it. But nowadays when I do it and I turn sideways or look around, the love handles are barely existent. There isn't a pudge anymore, and I've noticed a lot more muscle definition popping through. To be honest, it's just been really weird. I felt more confident in the clothes that I've worn, and I've just been more confident in the body that I'm in right now. I'm not saying that I'm skinny by any means. I still have a long way to go, nor do I really want to be skinny, but again, this has been the leanest I've been in my life, and it really, really excites me. One of the metrics that triathletes will use is called watts per kilogram, where essentially a higher watts per kilogram will indicate that you're a better climber because you can push more watt for how much that you genuinely weigh. Even though I could have pushed a lot of watts, the moment I got to a hill, I became the weakest cyclist ever. My friend who pushes probably 40 watts less than me would probably destroy me on climbs because of this. In a course like Ironman Sandusky, where it's super flat, I would have a really fast time. However, when I went to Ironman Michigan, those hills simply destroyed me. And the same happened when I was in Cincinnati and training in the Kentucky hills. It would just be that my group and I would start a climb, and I would essentially be like, okay, see you guys in 5 minutes. And that's just been the story of it. My number one goal into the season was to improve my watts per kilogram, both by increasing my watts and decreasing my kilograms, and it's been going pretty well. At zone 2 now, I've been hitting 190 watts, and with the current weight I'm at, that would equate to about a 2.1, 2.2 watts per kilogram, and to be honest, it's a lot higher than I anticipated, and I like to hope that it keeps on growing. I didn't go into specifics on what I specifically ate that allowed me to achieve this new body composition. I can show that in another video what my specific diet is throughout the week. I just wanted to talk more about my struggles and my successes with my health journey. I know that people talk about the weight side of my health journey a lot, but to be honest, I think a bigger portion of that has been simply my relationship with food. I'm really thankful that I can eat without guilt, eat with my friends without having to count calories as much, and just simply enjoying life, enjoying training. And I think that's the biggest thing about triathlon, because I joined the sport wanting to be more healthier, and it took me a long time to realize that to be healthy was to be happy with your own diet. Again, thank you so much for listening to this video. If you have any questions, let me know. I hope that this video can inspire other people to with their own health journey, because for me it was a big struggle to get to where I'm at right now, and if I can help someone with this video, this would make me really happy. But anyways, if you want to see more, like that video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you later.